are the instructions for the take-home barn flowers kit. You should have received a canvas, a tracer, and paints in your pack. So the first thing you're gonna do is you should have, hopefully you have 2 sizes of brushes, maybe a big one and then something a little smaller. So we're gonna paint the whole background first. Don't worry about the barn or the flowers. So you should have received 2 colors of brown and some white. Now don't use all your white for this because you need to keep it for the barn. So on your bigger of your 2, hopefully, brushes, scoop up a little bit of one of the browns, it doesn't matter, and just a tiny bit of your white. I've got both on my brush at once. And you're just gonna start putting them on. I've already traced my barn here. I did it in Sharpie just so you'd be able to see. But do your whole canvas, do the whole thing. Don't worry about that barn. So you want it to be kind of streaky. So do like 1 color of brown first, and then you can go back like this and maybe just put in tiny little flicks of the white or of the other color of brown. So you want to make the whole thing streaky so that it looks like wood. Let me bring this down so you can see a little better. See how mine's like streaky. You want to do your edges too, and like the bottom and the top. So do all that and dry it with a hair dryer or walk away for an hour until it's dry. So then what you want to do is with your tracer and a pencil, trace your barn shape. You should have something that looks like this. Trace your barn shape onto your canvas, wherever you want your barn to be situated. I did it a little bit more than half because I wanted to leave some room at the bottom there for my flowers. So trace that on with a pencil. If your brown's too dark and you can't see your pencil lines, do it with a Sharpie, okay? Next step is to paint the whole barn white. Depending on how many or how dark your brown is, that may need 2 coats. So again, paint the whole thing. Don't worry about the window or the door. Paint the whole thing white, dry it, and you may need a 2nd coat of white, okay? Dry it again. Then you want to take a smaller brush probably, and we're gonna put in the barn little window. So right about here, make a little box, fill that in. Then you want to make the doorway. You can pencil this in too if you want. If you want it to be perfect. I'm struggling here. But you want it to go like that and leave a little bit hanging over the ends on each side, and then come straight down, and then fill all this in. Next step would be to use your little brush. If you don't have a little brush, go get a toothpick. Toothpick could work. And see all these little lines that I put in here on the side of the barn? And then see that little line at the peak up at the top? That's what you want to do with either your little brush or a toothpick. So they can just be random. Don't make them all too matchy-matchy. So just go through, and I did pretty much the same spacing to try to make it look like barn paneling, if you will. Okay, and then you also want to do like a black line across the top of your roof and down the two sides, and extend this out over the sides, okay? So put these little paneling lines in. And then you can also put one up here going straight up, okay? Dry that, especially down here, because this is where we're gonna put our flowers. So you don't want any of that black to be wet. Let me hit it here with a hairdryer real quick. Okay, then wash your brush. And I gave you red, yellow, green. Hopefully you still have some black and some more white left. So I usually like to start with the straight red for the flowers. So these flowers, I'm gonna do it down here so you can see better, but pretty much just a circle, and you don't want it to be perfect. You want it to be a little bumpy. So just go through. I'm doing them bigger than normal. And I want to put them like right here. Okay. So space them out. However, decide how many reds you want. So I usually go through and do all one color first. Then, unless you have a huge quantity of red on your brush, you can wipe it off. Don't really need to wash it. Take some of your white with the red still on your brush and see if you can make, I didn't have enough red, see if you can make like a pink and put those in, however many and wherever you want. Now some of the reds, like my red, you can see the black door through it. So I'm gonna go in here and give it a second coat to cover up some of that black. Okay, now, if you don't wash your brush and you've got like this pinkish combination and you take a little bit of the yellow with it, you can make orange. See, there's some orange, well, not enough, but the red and the yellow together will give you orange, okay? So put in some orange, and then if you, or not, if you just want straight yellow flowers here, you can do that. I really need to wash my brush. I've got everything on here now. So put in your yellow flowers. So you can make this as flowery as you want. And then wash your brush. And I gave you one shade of green, but you can make multiple colors of green with the green, the white, the yellow, and just a dot of the black. So I would do just the straight green first with your little brush. Just get a little bit of it. And I'm gonna do it down here on the big flower. But just do like 3 long strokes coming out wherever you think you need some foliage. 3 or 4. 1, 2, 3. So go through and just do this with the 1 shade of green. Then add just like a dot of black. Don't add too much black to your brush. And go back in with darker shade so that there's some highlight there. So do that wherever you want this pull down foliage. Okay. You can then like put a little white on your brush too and go back over in places to give it a little highlight. So that's pretty much it for the foliage. You could, you know, mix your yellow in with your green to get like more of a lemon yellow type green. And then with a little brush or your toothpick, put little white flicks. See that? Look in the flowers. Little flicks. Think C's and commas. So I'll do it here on the big one. So just put like a C and a comma, like that. So you're just putting in some highlights in all your flowers. Then use the back end of your brush with black and put in a couple little dots of black into your centers. Okay? You could do white dots also, like do a white dot on top of the black dots to really set it off. And that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully these videos will get better the more I do. I apologize for the unprofessionalism, but this is a first for all of us. Bye.